спілкуватись з колегами, з вчителями англійської мови з усієї України. Ми розпочнемо основну сесію вебінар вчасно, об 11 годині. Наразі ми виходимо в ефір заздалегідь, тому що до нас доєднується дійсно багато вчителів з усієї України. Ми вам надзвичайно за це вдячні. І платформі необхідний певний час для того, щоб комфортно підтягнути всіх в онлайн, для того, щоб ви відчували якнайменше проблем зі звуком або відео, тому що система підтягує всіх по черзі, по одному, і щоб оптимізувати цей процес, саме для цього ми виходимо трішки раніше, за хвилин 5-6 до початку самого вебінару. Бачу, ви вже активно вітаєтесь у чаті. Сподіваюсь, це також ознака того, що ви мене чуєте, що ви мене бачите, або просто доєднались до чату. Так, бачу вже yes, hello, плюси. Доброго дня, все працює. І знову-таки радий бачити колег з абсолютно всієї України. Дубно, Одеса, Черкаси, Самбір, Київ, Новий Розділ, Кам'янець-Подільськ, моя рідна Вінниця. Ага, Світлана Чугу, радий вас бачити, пані Світлано. Васильків, так, Пирятин, якщо правильно, Харків, Львів Ріджин, Покровськ, Донецьк. Надзвичайно радий вас також бачити. Харків тут з 3 смайлами. Краматорськ з 1, але, сподіваюся, не менш задоволені, ніж Харків з 3. Надзвичайно радий вас всіх бачити тут. Отже, черговий вебінар, чергова зустріч онлайн з Internal Education. Вона відбувається в рамках такої величезної, не побоюсь цього слова, програми онлайн-тренінгів від Internal Education, яку ми організовуємо абсолютно для всіх бажаючих вчителів України. Спілкуємося про різні вікові особливості, про різні рівні, про школу, про молодшу, середню, старшу, про тих з вас, хто викладає в університетах для едалтів, на курсах. Тематика різна, і кожен може вибрати собі те, що йому найбільше підходить і найцікавіше. Хочу згадати про безкоштовне навчання разом з Internal Education, яке ми пропонуємо вам цими днями. Це безкоштовний доступ до кінця навчального року до онлайн-платформи My English Lab. На нашому сайті eltdinternal.com.ua ви зможете знайти детальнішу інформацію, як отримати доступ до платформи, усю необхідну консультацію і технічний супровід. І впевнений, що багато з вас вже більше 300 учасників. Наразі з вас 100% є ті, хто до платформи доєднався, спробував її переваги і вже кілька тижнів прекрасно користується тими засобами, якими ми допомагаємо вчителям під час дистанційного навчання і карантинних заходів, які склались. Також хочу нагадати вам, що в нас є і проект для тих з вас, хто викладає у молодшій школі, тому що ми розуміємо, викладання саме в цьому секторі дистанційно дається, напевно, найважче в силу того, що це найменші наші слухачі, найменші наші учні. І тому на нашій Facebook сторінці і на нашому сайті ви також зможете знайти детальнішу інформацію про ті ресурси, які ми пропонуємо для використання під час дистанційного навчання для молодших школярів. Будь ласка, ідіть на наші сайти, на Facebook сторінці і подавайте заявки на отримання цих ресурсів також. Ще один захід, який щочетверга о 13:00 відбувається, і сьогодні буде не виключенням. У прямому ефірі з'явиться мій колега, викладач The London School of English і методист Internal Education Кріс Кьорбі з 30-хвилинною сесією, з гарною частиною питаннями, відповідями онлайн під час стріму тому на нашій сторінці у Facebook. Долучайтесь, Кріс надзвичайно вдало поєднує питання-відповіді онлайн і з якимись своїми напрацюваннями як дуже досвідченого педагога, вчителя, який викладає для абсолютно різних категорій учнів. І останнє, хочу нагадати вам про сертифікати, які всі з вас, абсолютно всі, хто доєднались, неодмінно отримають на ваші поштові скриньки, але це відбудеться, напевно, що не сьогодні і, можливо, не завтра. Як правило, десь протягом тижня ви отримаєте сертифікати у ваші поштові скриньки. Будь ласка, разом з тим перевіряйте свої спам-бокси, тому що іноді, особливо якщо ми говоримо про пошту Gmail, наскільки мені відомо, часто потрапляють сертифікати туди. Однак, якщо серед вас наразі є ті, хто досі не отримав сертифікат, гарно покоперсавшись навіть у своїй електронній пошті, зверху у нашому чаті ви можете бачити закріплене повідомлення з поштовою адресою, на яку вам необхідно відправити запит на отримання сертифіката. Подивіться, будь ласка, зверху у чаті є повідомлення, якщо ви не отримали сертифікат, напишіть нам info@dinternal.com.ua. Ця поштова скринька перевіряється кожного дня моїми колегами, і всі проблеми з сертифікатами вирішуються їх повторним надсиланням на вашу електронну адресу. Це повідомлення закріплено зверху. Будь ласка, можете собі скопіювати пошту та використовувати за необхідності. Окей. So it's 11:02 here, where I'm, well, from the place from my, well, home actually, where I'm doing the webinar today with you. So hello again to everybody. I think we're just ready to start. So today's webinar is going to be based on the materials of our brand new material published by Pearson, which is called GoGetter. And actually, when yesterday I was doing this webinar, I probably forgot to mention who a go-getter is, just for everybody to understand why they called the book, why Pearsons have called the book this way. So go-getter is the person who is always looking for some new things, who is motivated enough, and who is aimed at achieving better results. So this is a kind of person who we can call a go-getter. And we are talking about a series of 5 webinars that you can do together with us based on this wonderful resource for lower secondary school. So some of you, I'm sure, have already ticked the first webinar with Chris that he was doing the day before yesterday. If there are some people among you who were having this webinar yesterday with Chris in the morning, you know that there were some difficulties with the platform. It just stopped working. It just broke at some point. But the webinar that Chris was doing the day before yesterday is going to be uploaded to our website, and you will have a chance to watch it just a bit later, okay? And today, well, we're doing the webinar that's called Get Fun with Go-Getter Grammar. And why it is a good idea for you to sit through some of these webinars, because on the 4th of May, we're going to run a huge competition based on this series of webinars. So the rules are very simple. You need to attend one webinar live. So for instance, well, all of you are doing it just now. And then on the 4th of May, you're going to get on your emails 5 questions, which actually are going to be based on on the whole series of 5 webinars. So you must watch one webinar live, but the rest, the 4 of them, you can watch recorded, and you have to answer 5 questions based on them. And then you can become one of 500 lucky winners to get your very own sample of GoGetter book there. For this, you have to answer 5 questions correctly, and you need to be one of the first 500 participants who are going to do that. Okay, so on the 4th of May, please check your emails, answer 5 questions based on the GoGetter webinar series, and become one of 500 lucky winners to get your sample. Okay, today's webinar is going to be based on the materials taken from GoGetter 3. As I have already mentioned, we suggest to use this book with your lower secondary students, and it would fit especially the needs of those of you who are teaching in non-specialized schools, well, with about 2 to 3 lessons of English per week for your students. So it would fit all the criteria there perfectly well. And a couple of words there about GoGetter. So this is aimed at this pre-teens age, which I believe is one of the key things about GoGetter there, because, well, the psychology and the age and the students' needs are covered here in the best possible way. It's very dynamic, well, because lower secondary students are very demanding, right, in terms of new material, in terms of the material to be motivating and it to be various, so to say. GoGetter is an excellent choice there. And one more thing, it's extremely contextualized, meaning that the authors were thinking that learning through context is a great advantage when learning English, and students have a lot of context, a lot of different stories and video materials and comic strips, whatever they learn: vocabulary, grammar, functional language, and the rest. And we are going to talk about this in a bit more detail today. So, get fun with GoGetter Grammar, the title of today's session, and just, well, you'll see a question now on the slide, and in your chat boxes, I'll ask you to write a quick yes or no there. Okay. So, for you personally, is teaching grammar fun? So think about yourselves back in your classrooms or now online tutorials you're having, okay? So lots of positive answers, lots of yeses, some of you say no, some of you say 50-50, so, it depends, okay? Not you're using all those in-between emotions. Sometimes no, but a lot of yeses, I would say. I would still say that the majority of you say yes. Okay, good. So today we're going to have a look at how it can be more fun with the GoGetter series there, both in terms of teaching for you and in terms of learning for students, because this is actually quite, well, difficult lessons, right? Their grammar, there's lots of explanation and things, and it is a nice thing if the teacher thinks about how to make it interactive and fun and engaging and motivating for students. Okay, so we are going to discuss today 3 important grammar features, which I personally find important, and I'm sure that many of you would find it too, and you think about it on a regular basis, actually, when conducting your grammar lessons. And I'm going to share 3 class management techniques, which, maybe for some of you, they won't be, a revelation, and you would think, oh my God, I have never thought about that. However, these things could be used not only during the English language, the grammar lesson you're having with your students, but with some different lessons as well. Okay, so let us imagine, so this is the page. You are just going to teach a grammar lesson you're going to teach to your students. But obviously, you don't walk in your classroom and you say, okay, good morning, students, open your books, page 55, let's start the lesson, right? You're not doing that because it's not very much student friendly, yes? So you would obviously, like me, start a lesson with books closed, right? Just to build up some intrigue around the topic, motivate and engage students at the start. So that's how we're going to, well, start a lesson like that. And, you know, with GoGetter grammar lessons, well, I'm more than lucky to have grammar videos there, which are called Get Grammar. And the students would know these characters because they would meet them quite often, but just let me introduce them. So these are Anna, Max, Hamster, Hemi the hamster, and Fluffy, all right? And well, at the beginning of the lesson, I could think that, well, it is reasonable to play a short video to my students to engage them. And well, since it is a grammar video, I'm going to ask you a grammar question, a very, well, typical one, I would say. So what grammar is presented in this video? So I'm going to play it to you in just a second. But what I would ask you to do, ladies and gentlemen, can you be very, very specific in your answers? Okay, so what kind of grammar? Be very specific there. Okay? So let us watch it, and you answer the question in your chat boxes when you see it, what grammar is presented.
I'm so hungry. Oh no, Max hasn't done the shopping.
But look, he's left some milk, and he hasn't eaten all the biscuits.
I've opened a bottle of lemonade and I've got some nuts.
Hammy, you've eaten my biscuits.
I haven't touched your biscuits.
Well, someone has eaten them, and someone has drunk the milk too.
It wasn't me, Fluffy. Oh, where are my nuts? I haven't eaten them. That's strange. I can't see anyone.
I can't.
Okay, all right. Just before we continue watching, again, in your chat boxes, can you just try to predict who Fluffy is seeing at the moment? So, well, do you think, do you have any ideas who have eaten, well, all their food there? Okay, yeah, actually, a ghost, mouse, mice, Fluffy herself. Okay, a dog, Max. Okay, mice. All right, neighbors. Okay, perfect. A hungry dog. Oh my. Okay, I like your prediction. I just adore them. Okay, so let's watch until the end and see who's that actually.
Can. Look. Come on, guys. We're having a party.
Okay. All right, excellent for all of you who have predicted mice, but I just loved all the other options that you had there. Okay, so yeah, lots of correct answers with present perfect there, but I asked you to be as specific as possible at the beginning, yes, and just I saw just some of the answers right in your present perfect. Thank you, Yuri, for affirmative and negative. Yes, there were no interrogative, like there were no present perfect question forms. Yeah, so present perfect, negative, and affirmative. All right, good. So if we go back to this grammar, Get Grammar videos, I'm sure that you do use videos in your classroom, and there are lots of different things you could do with a funny video like that, right? Well, if we are talking about a grammar video, you obviously can do with your students the activity like that, well, the task that we've done, like naming the grammar. If it's not, if you know that it's not their first time working with this grammar structure, then you could obviously ask this question, okay, watch the video, what grammar you can meet more often than something else. Some of you have written in the chat box like some and any, countable, uncountable. Yeah, well, there are some other structures, but the one that dominates, right, is still present perfect. Well, you can do predicting the story with your students. So what is great about a video like that, that it does have a story. It's quite a brief one, quite a short one, very much to the point of using present perfect, but there is some kind of a beginning and continuation and a fun ending to this one. That's why pausing now and then and letting your students predict what's going to happen is just another thing you could do. Either you're using a grammar video or well, a different kind of video there with your students. Right? Yes, somebody's writing what happens next. Exactly. But another thing what I find this type of video very, very useful for is actually teaching my students the concept of present perfect, the meaning of present perfect, because they have a lot of meaningful context there. Yes, this is the video and they've got some visualization there and lots of examples and two characters there playing their roles. So it is very good to teach what really present perfect is. And well, for this reason, I could use my wonderful boards, either green or black in the classroom. Well, today, in the quarantine times, you could share the screen in Skype or in Zoom. And for instance, here I just have written out one of the sentences from the story. So Max has not done the shopping. Yes. And well, just now, I would show the sentence to my students, and I would obviously give a very brief definition for what present perfect is. So, oh, you remember, yes, this episode with the fridge there. So here you've got a picture with a fridge. Actually, I've taken away the food that was there for my personal reasons. You would see just now. And if I tell my students, okay, so present perfect, stands for an action, yes, that happened in past or started in past and has some results now, or hasn't finished, yes, isn't finished now. So I would give them a very brief definition, yes, as the starting point for what present perfect is. And if after this definition, I would ask them, okay, guys, do you understand? Or is it clear? Well, what you could meet in the classroom, and I'm sure that many of you face this, they would just go silent. It's like, well, or some of them would say yes, some of them would say no. These types of questions don't give you real understanding if students have understood the meaning for present perfect. Yes, if they know when they can use them. And actually, yes, some of you start already typing in the chat box, which I'm very, very thankful for. Very, very well, great audience I'm having now. So these questions are not very much relevant. That's why, well, when teaching our grammar lessons, we could use concept checking questions or CCQs, right? Well, CCQs, I would say they are quite, I think they are quite difficult to be explained during a webinar, but I'll try to do my best and I'll try to share some basic idea of what concept checking questions are. So basically, you take, yes, one of the sentences from the story and you ask students questions based on it. Again, in your chat boxes, we'll just answer these questions, right? So Max has not done the shopping. So have a look at the picture. Is there any food in the fridge? Again, in your chat boxes, is there any food? All right, so well, here in the picture, there is no food actually. Yes, in the video, you saw some, but here in the picture, yes, there is. If you have a look at this one on the slide, there is no food. at the moment. Yes. Okay. Did Max go to the shop earlier? Okay. No. All right. And the last one, does Hammy have anything to eat now? Again, judging by the picture here, yes, no, we are working on the picture on this very episode. Later, they would find some cookies, yes, on the table. But if we talk about this situation, then at the moment he thinks there is nothing. Okay, good. Thank you very much for your quick and very correct answers in the chat box. So this is how concept checking questions work. And I have already seen that some of you typed in the chat box that CELT is providing explanations for how to form and use them. Obviously, a lot of things actually that we share with you in our webinars are taken from our CELT experience, and CCQs are no exception. And what I'm driving at, that CCQs is a very meaningful way to just check how well the students have grasped the meaning of present perfect and the moments or the episodes when we can use them. So a couple of things about it. Well, two important things, most important things I find about CCQs is that they need to be yes/no questions, right? For the students just to answer with a quick yes, with a quick no. And they mustn't include present perfect in them, right? So you can't check understanding of present perfect, including present perfect in your question, yes? So the question themselves must be formed using some lower level grammar structures that the students have already learned. Like here, right? I have present simple and past simple questions to check the understanding of present perfect. Right. So we have arrived with you to the first grammar feature that I find very, very important. That's meaningful context. Well, the episodes during the learning process, when students get access to different videos and they see the context and they see their characters and they see visual supports and they see the story behind everything that's happening, together with grammar integrated there, well, would just mean that the students would learn and would acquire the material a lot better. So meaningful context would be very, very important when teaching grammar to students. Now, actually, that wasn't really the end of the video. The video continues, and I'd like to show you what it continues with. All right, so there is look and learn section to the video. So let's watch and see what it's got for students there.
Look and learn. I have opened a bottle of lemonade. I've opened a bottle of lemonade. He has left some milk. He's left some milk. Open. Opened. Touch.
All right, we're not going to watch it until the end because I'm sure you grasped the meaning. So now, after some work on meaning has been done, right, by the means of the video itself and by means of concept checking questions, and the students were listening to the structure. Yes, so they did some, they could have done some pronunciation practice also with you. Now, the form of present perfect is taught. So all this meaning, pronunciation, form could be done together with the wonderful Get Grammar videos with GoGetter. So, and actually after this, they are introduced to irregular verbs there, to all the personal, to all the pronouns there, and to the negative forms. So all the forms are given to students. Plus, they have a wonderful chart on the page of the book that again would let them see how present perfect is formed. Okay, now we have come to the first classroom management technique I'd like to share with you. So let us just imagine that this stage of the lesson is done. Yes, you have presented the grammar structure, you have presented present perfect to your students by everything just we have done with you, but still you'd like to check how the whole class is doing, whether anybody in the classroom has any questions or anything there. So for this, I would use the technique that's called traffic lights. And the students would, well, I would ask the students now at this stage, okay, guys, if you have no questions, if it seems like everything is clear to you, can you raise your green cards there? And the students who have no questions basically would do that. If you have, well, if you still have a couple of questions you'd like to sort out, can you raise your yellow card for that? And well, if you're the ones who will still have got lots of questions and it seems to you that you haven't understood a thing, again, raise your red card. So this is just a great thing that I use in my practice, because basically you end up with everybody in the classroom having their cards raised, and you can judge how everybody there is doing, and then decide who needs who needs more personal touch from you and a bit of explanations there, and basically who can help others as well, right? And the wonder of this approach is that the students have these different colored cards all the time with them, so they can stick them to the back of their students' books and use them whenever you need, at any grammar lesson you're doing or at any other lesson, vocabulary, reading, no problem. So you could always refer back to these cards, and they are recyclable and reusable during any lessons of yours. And this is actually another way how you could assess your students in a informal way, right? You don't yet give them marks, you don't yet punish, but you just check how well they have grasped the material. Okay, so this is the first classroom management technique, traffic lights, and use it to assess how everybody in the classroom is doing at this or that stage of the lesson. Now, moving further, just below the chart, just below the grammar chart, there are some practice activities, right? And you would say that any other book would have them, and that's completely true. Any other material you're working with has practice activities. But what is important for me at the stage of choosing the resource for my students is just to let my students work on these practice activities in a very natural and logical way. And this is something I'd like to draw your attention to here. So if you have a look at the tasks that go on the left, number 6, 7, and 8, you would probably see, if you have a closer look at them, that at the start, the students have a practice activity of quite an easy level. Basically, everything they need to do is they need to write the second and the third form of the verb, which would be a very, basic and a starting point for students to use present perfect correctly, right? So knowing the third form, and the second is also very helpful there, of the verb. The next activity here is number 7, where students are asked to complete the gaps with present perfect, and they are given the verb they need to use to fill in the gap and to complete it correctly. So I would go for it as the medium level of difficulty for students. And then the last activity would be harder here, because not only have the students to fill in the gaps with the correct form of the verb, but they also need to choose themselves what verb should be filled in this or that gap. So compared, right, to the previous two practice activities here, it would be treated obviously as a harder version of practice for students. So, and we have come very logically and naturally with you to the second grammar, very important grammar feature that, well, somebody, I saw in the chat box, somebody wrote, practice makes perfect. And I more than agree with this statement. However, we should always look for this practice to be put for our students in a very, so to say, chronologically correct, logically correct way, starting with easier practice activities and finishing with more difficult options and tasks, practicing this or that grammar structure, for instance, present perfect here. So this is another great feature and a very important feature for teaching grammar and for GoGetter as well, because what the authors did really well, they have structured all the grammar practice in this way every single time the students are practicing grammar. Okay, let's move on. If you have, again, a look at these activities here, 6, 7, and 8. So I would just again ask to write in the chat box the number, whether you think these are the controlled practice activities or freer practice activities. Just write the number, 1 or 2. So these 6, 7, and 8. Do students practice language in a controlled way here or in a freer mode? Okay. Yeah, I see lots of ones there. Some twos appear as well. Okay, but yeah, lots of you put one or have chosen the first option. Yeah, okay, good. Very, very much correct. So these are actually controlled practice activities. If we talk about freer practice activities, these would be very often connected with or are about speaking and writing. Yes, when the students are not limited to using specific grammar or specific vocabulary, they're, so to say, floating in the freer mode. They can use any vocab, they can use any grammar, or it is, well, limited to some extent. These are the controlled practice activities. Why? Well, because they have only one correct answer there. So how to differentiate a controlled practice activity from a freer one, it is very easy actually, because every single gap, every single question here in exercises 6, 7, and 8, they have just one possible option, one correct option. That's why they're called controlled practice, because students practice language in a very controlled way. Either they have answered it correctly or they have a mistake. So that's why it's controlled practice. And you know, when there are a series of controlled practice activities during my lesson, I always think about how I do the feedback stage with my lessons. So, because if you go and you nominate the student every single time after every single exercise, like, okay, Ivan, Luda, Katya, Marina, whatever, it could get a bit boring. Yes, the students might feel, well, that's not very engaging and interesting. So that's why I try to to run this feedback session in various ways. So say the students have done exercise 8 here. So they have completed the gaps, they have used the present perfect and everything there. And just to make this feedback stage a bit different for my students, I would use a lollipop stick technique, or popsicle sticks, whichever way you call them. So I would write the names of my students on these lollipop sticks, like Kate, Ivan, Vlad, Ilona here. And by the magic draw of my hand, I would just by chance draw one of the students out, and he or she would be the person to answer or to give the answer for any of the gaps there, right? You can actually run this feedback even in a more student-centered manner. You could give this bowl with the names to some of the students of yours, and you could say, okay, Marina, well, draw a student, draw your classmate who's going to answer, who's going to say what they have in gap 2 or in gap 3 or 4, whatever. So this is a very student-centered approach. This is this is where everything is done by chance and in a different way to just nominating the students, which I find no problem with, but well, different feedback techniques make lives of our students well, a lot more pleasant and fun. Again, the most important thing actually here, ladies and gentlemen, is after you have drawn somebody out and they have given their answers, what do you do with this person? Well, you put them back into the bowl with other lollipop sticks there. Because if you just keep them out of this bowl, well, their job for them is going to be done. Yes, okay, I have answered. Now I can be relaxed, no problem. So you put it back, and well, if you draw them again by chance, well, this is fate, this is destiny. What can you do about that? So you always put the students back into a bowl with the rest, and you shuffle it and you draw them again. Right. So this is another classroom management technique I would use in the classroom. And again, the great thing about it as well, that it is like the traffic lights technique, reusable and recyclable. So it means that for every single class of mine, or for every single class of yours, you would have this bowl with their names, and you can use it during any lesson of yours. So you don't need to reinvent it. You don't need to make these lollipop sticks again with the names. You just have them and you grab them at the point you need and you draw the person, and fun begins. So another thing for you to, Volodymyr is writing, the method is great for group making. Excellent. Volodymyr, agree, absolutely. So yes, they can draw themselves, and in this way the group is formed. Well, what this is, Volodymyr just proves another, the most important thing why I enjoy the webinars, because this is a great idea to share your experience here in the chat box as well. Thank you, Vladimir, for that. Good. Okay, let's move on. So there were some other practice activities there, yes, on the right. And basically what they've got here is they have got the picture with the kitchen there, right? And with some kitchen stuff like cup, fork, glass, knife, mug, plate, spoon. And this is actually another great thing about GoGetter, is that, it is designed in a very integrated approach. So even if the students are practicing and are doing grammar at this point, well, the vocabulary and the examples and the sentences are still on the topic of the unit, which is cooking and food. So that's another great thing about GoGetter. And basically here, they need to compare and contrast two pictures, which I find a very typical and a very natural activity to practice present perfect. Yes, what it was before and how it has changed. So this is basically the task. In exercise 10, the students are asked, like, what has or hasn't Nell done? And they are given some ideas here in the books to make their own sentences. And the last activity here, the last task on the page is to take turns, is actually to close the books. The students are asked to close the books and take turns and tell your partner sentences from exercise 10. So if you grade these two tasks, you would probably also agree with me, I hope, that these are, well, some kind of hard or even like very hard tasks. That's why they go at the very end of the lesson, when the students need to come up with their own grammatically correct sentences, yes, and then even to close their books and to share these sentences and to remember these sentences, maybe using the pictures, and tell each other what they've got there. So for, at this stage, at the very late stage of the lesson, where I would probably use another classroom management technique I'm just about to share with you, which is called an expert student. Yes, ask me, I'm an expert student. I'm sure that in your classrooms, you would have the students who are better at grammar, yes, and these could be 2, 3, 5 students who are good, and you could always refer back to them. I'm more than sure that many of you, or all of you, are using the potential of your stronger students while teaching. Yes, you would ask them help others, and you would refer back to them, and they would help you in managing the classroom as well at some points. The main idea here from me is that we don't end up with these 2, 3, 5 stars out of 15 only, because you could have these 4 stronger students who would function and who would help manage the classroom all the time for you. So my idea here is that apart from, for instance, grammar expert students in your classroom, I'm sure that some of your students are better at writing. Yes, well, you would always have these who know how to structure the letter in the best possible way, what linking words to use, what is the best number of words to be written, whatever. So they could become your writing experts. And these could be different people to grammar experts, right? These could be different students. I just love as the teacher when my weaker students come with their homework ready. It's like the moment of wonder, yes? What I would do just before the lesson, a couple of minutes before the lesson starts, I would go through this homework with my weaker students. We would see what the good things are, what the mistakes were, and we would quickly correct it with them. And for this lesson, they would become my homework experts. And at the beginning of the lesson, you could say, okay, so these guys have all the correct answers on the homework you have done. They would go around and check if you have the same. So, well, weaker students go check everybody else in the classroom as being the homework experts for this particular lesson. Or you could have dictionary experts in your classroom. So every single now and then, when the dictionary must be used for the purpose of translation or definition, synonyms, whatever, you would ask these students to help out the rest. Or, for instance, poster experts. I'm sure you have those students, who are better, poster designers, who know how to lay out all the pictures, what colors to use, whatever. So why not? Yes, every time you have students working on the poster, you could say, okay, you guys walk around, feed in some ideas, suggest how others could create poster in the best possible way. So you would engage them as well, and they would feel themselves experts during this lesson. So What we are basically driving at here is the idea of multiple intelligences, right? The idea that we as teachers should look for what all of our students are good at, and we should find this, small bit, or this interest or this ability of our students, and to use it to their own advantage or to their own benefit in the classroom. So all our students are intelligent. Well, the thing that we need to find what they are intelligent with, right? Okay. So this is the third classroom management technique for today, is the idea of using the expert student, and hopefully I have transferred this idea that expert student is not only the best student in class. It could be, well, this could be a very shared responsibility, and it could be shared among many students in the classroom. Okay. And now we have come with you to, and actually, yeah, the expert student is the idea that is also recyclable and reusable. So all these three classroom management techniques could be used as a part of your classroom routine. Yes, and if the students get used to it, they know their roles, they know how the traffic lights work, they know how the lollipop sticks technique work and stuff like that. So it is obviously the possibility for the routine. And I'm sure, at this stage, I'd like to say that I'm sure that you all have your very own personal techniques that work personally with you or with your students. And I'm sure you have a lot more than we have discussed today. All right, and the last grammar feature I'd like to stress on today is this. So this lesson that we have had a look with you at, it's actually one of 4 grammar lessons in every single unit in GoGetter. And this is something that I'd like to use for the last grammar feature. Well, so this one, you remember, yes, that the focus of this lesson was present perfect affirmative and negative. The previous lesson actually was also based on present perfect affirmative and negative, but the students were kind of practicing present perfect in a very implicit way. So, well, the teacher wouldn't explain the rules or draw students' attention to the form, but the students would watch another video, and you see the video is called "We've Brought Dessert." Yes, so it also comprises present perfect and lots of examples of present perfect there. Those of you actually who did the webinar with Chris the day before yesterday, you were taken by Chris through this kind of lesson. Yes, and together with some listening and reading skills that are practiced primarily here by students, there are lots of examples for present perfect. The third grammar lesson here is also based around present perfect, but now it's question forms. And this one, you see that it's a comic strip, again, extremely student friendly, extremely funny. So this is an episode with Dr. Q and the guy who have made lots of popcorn there, and the whole room was in popcorn. So again, very funny, very engaging, and including present perfect, but now question forms, and again in a very implicit way. And the fourth lesson, the fourth grammar lesson they would have here, is going to comprise again get grammar videos with Fluffy and Hammy, and that's again present perfect question forms. So what I'm driving at here is, well, together with GoGetter, the students are exposed to to both a great number of grammar being practiced and to a great variety of it. Yes, because basically the two structures that they are practicing present perfect, but that's only affirmative and affirmative, negative, and question forms. So they don't have just yet structures here. So that's all about one and the same thing, and they are taken through it in various ways. They've got 3 videos of 2 different types. They have a comic strip. They have lots of fun spots and practice activities to go with it. And the last very important grammar feature for me when teaching my students grammar is that numerous recycling of target grammar. So every single time my students would have a grammar lesson, they wouldn't be taken through a new grammar structure there, yes, but they would practice one and the same grammar, and they would recycle it in various ways. So it has taken us to the last for today. Very important grammar feature is that the numerous recycling of grammar is very important. And the more students are introduced to grammar in various videos and in various texts and in various listening activities, in very meaningful ones, and then they practice it later, the better grammar learners and the better grammar experts they would be. Okay, so these are the 3 grammar features I find very important when teaching grammar, and 3 classroom management techniques which are recyclable and reusable. You see that, and that they can be used not only during grammar lessons, but during any other lesson you're conducting. Отже, ми підходимо до такого логічного завершення. Дехто з вас, я так бачив в чат-боксі, хтось реагував на те, коли я говорив про вебінар Кріса, який відбувся позавчора, що для когось з вас це вже другий вебінар з серії GoGetter, тому ви можете вже тікнути для себе другу лайв-сесію, в якій ви взяли участь. І ми знову ж таки надзвичайно вдячні вам за це і за те, що ви ділитесь своїми ідеями і надбаннями і величезним, я впевнений, досвідом роботи з своїми учнями. Ще раз нагадую вам так, що у серії цілих 5 вебінарів, які всі стосуються різних аспектів, різних тем, і в рамках цього нагадую вам про конкурс, розіграш 500 підручників GoGetter, який має відбутись 4 травня. 4 травня на ваші поштові адреси ви маєте отримати або 5 запитань, або, скоріше за все, наскільки я розумію, посилання на те, де знаходяться ці 5 запитань, і ті з вас, ті 500 людей, які дадуть правильні відповіді на всі 5 запитань і будуть першими з усіх, хто такі відповіді дадуть, отримають 500 примірників підручника GoGetter. Нагадую так, що ви маєте відвідати хоча б один вебінар у режимі онлайн. Ну, це ви вже зробили, з першою мовою точно впорались всі присутні сьогодні. Проте 5 запитань базуватимуться на усіх 5 вебінарах. Отож, якщо у вас немає змоги відвідати усі у режимі онлайн, ви зможете подивитися їх у записі на нашому сайті eltdinternal.com.ua і мати змогу все ж таки вдало і правильно дати відповідь на всі 5 запитань. Ще раз нагадую вам про сертифікати. Ви отримаєте їх впродовж тижня. Будь ласка, моніторте свої поштові скриньки. Знову нагадую, що в нашому чат-боксі згори прикріплена поштова скринька, на яку ви можете відправити лист, якщо раптом ви все ж таки не знайшли якийсь з сертифікатів попередніх вебінарів. Так, info@dinternal.com.ua. Відправляйте, будь ласка, запит свій туди, і мої колеги, я впевнений, якнайшвидше надішлють вам сертифікат повторно, який підтверджуватиме, що ви недаремно точно проводите час під час карантину, зустрічаєтесь з нами, з колегами онлайн, в чат-боксі і ділитесь своїми прекрасними ідеями, досвідом, надбаннями. Мені здається, це найцінніше у наших з вами зустрічах. Відтак, я вам всім дякую за участь. Хочу знову ж таки, Наталко, на початку забув нагадати, мене сьогодні знову, як і вчора, модерує моя прекрасна колега, методист компанії Internal Education з Одеси Наталя Михненко. Наталя, ще раз тобі дякую. 570 людей точно це почули. Дякую тобі за допомогу з чатом і з запитаннями. Ми з Наталкою ще певний час знаходимось тут, хвилин 5, я думаю. Тому, якщо у вас є якісь запитання, ви можете написати їх у чат-боксі, і ми спробуємо дати на них відповідь. Відтак, всім міцного здоров'я. Дякуємо, що доєднуєтесь до нас. І тим, хто прощається, до нових зустрічей. Дякую всім. Дякую навзаєм. Також всім гарного дня, до нових зустрічей. Що обрати для вивчення методики англійської? Запитує Вікторія Собко. Вікторія, скажу вам так, що взагалі, напевне, мій такий найулюбленіший, мій особисто ELT-автор – це Джеремі Хармер, і в нього є прекрасний посібник, який називається Teacher Knowledge Essentials, так, якщо ми Teacher Knowledge Essentials або Essentials, точно не пам'ятаю. Ви, до речі, Наталко, можу я тебе попросити посилання на наш сайт shop.internal.com.ua зараз розмістити у чат-боксі, Вікторія, і ви зможете зайти на наш магазин, і я впевнений, що там має бути кілька примірників цього підручника. Я його використовую, це зараз моя настільна книга з методики, і була під час складання селта. І мені подобається, він надзвичайно структурований, зрозумілий, візуально такий приємний, дуже user-friendly. Там, до речі, є також DVD з різними відеоприкладами тих методичних підходів, деяких, які з'являються у підручнику. Тому так, дякую тобі. Наталка кинула на shop.internal.com.ua, там GoGetter, але неважливо, ви в принципі на цьому сайті, на посилання на наш магазин, знайдете і цей підручник в тому числі. Тому він такий всеохоплюючий. Є серія підручників прекрасних how to teach grammar, how to teach listening, how to teach writing і так далі, але це кожен з підручників, так, серії фокусується на одному з аспектів, так, або скілів, або systems. А ось цей Джеремі Хармер Essentials for не згадаю точно, на жаль, він такий всеоб'ємний, така, знаєте, база основна ELT, тому раджу його. Is numerous recycling something like a variety of grammar structures known new for students can be used? Дивіться, от саме коли я говорю про numerous recycling, коли я говорив, я мав на увазі саме те, ось, дякую тобі, Наталка, вона ось Essential Teacher Knowledge Book, DVD. Це навіть Тетяна, Богомаз, дякую вам, Тетяна. Стосовно numerous recycling, я мав на увазі, цього разу саме те, коли учні мають змогу повторити одну й ту саму конструкцію багато раз. Що іноді трапляється в деяких підручниках, це те, що навіть на одній сторінці може бути кілька граматичних структур, так? На одній сторінці, на одному уроку потенційно. То може бути одна структура, і тут же зустрічається якийсь інший аспект цієї ж структури або продовження і так далі. В цьому випадку учням за 45 хвилин потенційно доводиться опановувати і практикувати ось дві такі підтеми, скажімо так. У GoGetter вони дуже класно це продумали і зробили так, що, в принципі, учні мають змогу практикувати одну і ту саму структуру у багатьох різновидах. Тому ось саме це я мав на увазі. І мені здається, що саме в середній школі це є надзвичайно важливим. Якщо у старшій, наприклад, так, у upper secondary, там вже таке допустимо, тому що учні приходять туди з набагато більшим багажем знань і розумінням, як граматика працює, лексики і так далі. А в середній школі, як на мене, надзвичайно важливо ось цю базу, яка започаткувалась в початковій, закріпити, підкріпити і пропрацювати все дуже ретельно. І ось numerous recycling, так, однієї тієї ж конструкції. І як в GoGetter, так, один тип відео, інший тип відео, комікс і так далі. Я всегда копировала номер сертификата и вставляла в строку сертификата. С вчерашнего дня это не получается. Ссылка неактивна, не вставляется. В чем может быть проблема? Людмила Демяненко. Мені важко, Людмила, відповісти на це технічне питання зараз. Якщо ссылка не активна, наскільки я розумію, то сертифікати мають приходити у PDF-форматі з активним цим посиланням, і в принципі, верніше не посиланням, а активною стрічкою. І вона, наскільки я розумію, першочергово була розрахована на ім'я і прізвище, а не на номер сертифіката. Але якщо я правильно розумію запитання, я перепитаю у своїх колег, які роблять розсилку, що саме це означає. Чи планується серія семінарів живих, як було минулого серпня? Дякую, Христина перепитує. Якщо живих ви маєте на увазі face-to-face, таких фізичних наших, то ми сподіваємося так, що все скоро мене, карантинні заходи знімуться, нехай епідеміологічний стан покращиться, і так, ми сподіваємося на скору зустріч з вами вживу. Вдруковувати номер вручну у сертифікаті незручно. Пані Інно, не знаю, не знаю навіть, як прокоментувати, але дійсно я бачив, що я написав, що введіть вручну. Що ось у пані Руслани і у пані Лариси працює. Я думаю, що ім'я, прізвище, номер не має бути великою проблемою для введення вручну. Було автоматично. Пані Євгенія, не знаю. На жаль, не орієнтуюсь наразі в цьому запитанні, але перепитаю. Ось спочатку треба скачати і потім вставляти. Напевно, все працює, пишуть Ольга та Валерія. напевно, я маю таку надію, що якщо у деяких з вас це працює, тоді це можливо. Якщо деякі з вас все ж таки мають змогу закачати і вставити, а не вдруковувати вручну, тоді, напевне, ця функція все ж таки працює. Тому ті з вас, будь ласка, в кого не виходить, ось мої поради, так? Перезавантажити Adobe або, я перепрошую, ось, або спочатку завантажити. Не працює, але вручну виходить. Ну, тоді, Діана і всі решта, я думаю, вручну це також не буде для вас надзвичайно складно. Always enjoy watching your webinars, interesting, fresh ideas. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay healthy. The same to you, Вікторія. Дякую вам дуже. Ну що, я так розумію, ми спробували з Наталкою дати відповідь на більшість, як мінімум, запитань, які були. Дуже вам ще раз дякуємо за вашу участь, за те, що доєднались. Міцного здоров'я, залишайтесь з нами, доєднуйтесь до інших вебінарів і гарного вам дня. Так, вибачте, ще одне питання. Ну добре, Ярослав Семенченко, давайте, якщо... Виграла підручник саме на вашій сесії минулого тижня. Дякую. Яна Маковецька, надзвичайно радий, вітаю вас з цим. Це дуже приємно. Так, тоді я очікую на останнє запитання від пана Ярослава. Скиньте, будь ласка, посилання на Facebook-сторінку. Ви маєте на увазі нашу дінтернелівську? Наталко, можу тебе попросити, будь ласка, скинути, якщо в тебе є змога на нашу Фейсбук-сторінку, проте там все надзвичайно легко, просто у Фейсбуку, у пошуковій стрічці Internal Education вводити, і найперше, напевне, що має вам з'явитись. Ось, Наталко, дякую тобі, посилання на Фейсбук-сторінку. Так, і було запитання від Ярослава. GoGetter 3 для 7 класу підійде, чи можна і 6? Да, відповідаю. Пане Ярослав, ми рекомендуємо GoGetter в першу чергу, скажімо так, для неспеціалізованих шкіл, середня школа, так, 5, 6, 7, можливо, 8 клас, якщо ви використовуєте всі 4 рівня. І все, звісно, дуже індивідуально. Ви, напевне, добре знаєте ваших учнів, їх рівень, на що вони здатні, що їм цікаво і так далі. У будь-якому випадку ми рекомендуємо потримати рівень в руках, подивитись, що в ньому є. І, знаєте, тут, на мене, напевне, навіть найважливіше, щоб вчителі, тому що багато вчителів, так, знаєте, одразу дивляться на колонку граматики і часто визначають для себе рівень підручника тільки по колонці граматики. Проте потрібно подивитися, так, і на аудіювання, яке там є, і на відео, і на об'єм текстів, і на кількість лексики, і так далі. GoGetter 3 мав би бути потенційно гарним для неспеціалізованих шкіл на 7 клас. Мав би бути хорошим. Проте, якщо у вас той випадок, наприклад, якщо учні сильні, я не знаю, який саме ресурс ви до того з ними використовували, як це, і все це насправді може і повпливати на вибір рівня GoGetter. Так, і на вибір його цієї трійочки, наприклад, про яку ви перепитуєте, або в 6, або в 7 клас. Тому це дуже індивідуально. Потенційно це 7 клас, не спеціалізованої школи. Практично є ще деякі моменти, які потрібно враховувати. Так, є якраз 6 клас помітно сильніший. Тоді можете спробувати. У будь-якому випадку, пане Ярослав, я б вам рекомендував потримати його в руках. Так чи інакше, і ось подивитись на ті аспекти, які я вже зазначив. Проте, може бути потенційно. Спробуємо. Дякую, спробуємо. Радий, що відповів. Так, ну що ж, всім гарного дня, до нових зустрічей в ефірі. Па-па.